So the thing is that what we find is with a report like this is it gets bandied about and used, waved around. It's like, yes, this is why, but it's not been interrogated. It's not been scrutinized. And I think this is a huge issue because I think it doesn't give us of reply, does it? Well, you're looking
No,
for it, Alison.
precisely. And yet, yeah, I'm looking for it. I can't find it off the top of my head. It doesn't give us any ability to scrutinize it. But on top of that, just to compound that, when Joe and I have approached government with really good statistics, or we have shown them academic research or even more informal research that we've done, they just ignore it. They don't want to look at the evidence that is produced by anybody else. It is, we're back to my favourite subject, Juliet, which is policy-based evidence making. You've got your policy, go create some evidence to justify it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what that report was.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it as well. I'm not quite sure what I'm searching under. I can't remember the name of it. But I know that one of the things that we did pick up from the figures is that a huge, they quoted like numbers of like, I don't know, 29 children or this many children or that many children that all had something like there'd been some concerns. But in one case in particular, those numbers fell over the sort of pandemic period. And
Mm.
so it's like, how many of those children were they possibly was this during lockdown? Was it actually home education? We didn't
The,
have
the,
that,
the,
that proper information.
there was another aspect of that though. So a lot of the reports they look back at the NSPCC database, their library of these serious case reviews, the reviews are filed by date of publication of the review. They are not filed by date of incident with the child. So when you look at them, so when COVID happened, there were a lot of people sat around not able to do their normal jobs. So some of them got on with catching up with some of the administration. And that's what happened with filing the serious case reviews and stuff. The serious case reviews got filed under the date of filing. A lot of them got filed or finished in 2020. None of the ones that were filed or finished in 2020 pertained to children who harm had come to in 2020. However, because of lazy research and because of this flawed filing system, some bright sparks come along and gone, oh, there was a rise in safeguarding problems during COVID with home education. And that's not the case at all. Some of them were 5 years old by the time they got filed. So you've got to be really careful when you're looking at evidence. And that's why Joe and I spend hours and hours and hours scrutinizing these things because, we can spot those issues.
You have to
It's
kind
get
of do that work to go and break it down because it does not stand up under scrutiny.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then what happens is you find other organizations and politicians basing their their reports or their comments or whatever on these reports that actually don't
Yep,
stand up under scrutiny. Sometimes they even
yep.
quote themselves. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it becomes cyclic. They end up in an echo chamber where they report things. So another example of something that Joe's been working on, certainly, and something that we've scrutinized, we've gone back through the Badman report, the report on home education in 2009. And we have picked out from the report and from Mr. Badman's interviews with the Education Committee many, many untruths and invented statistics and things like that. Can we get that report removed from the House of Commons library? Nope. We have absolute solid evidence that a good chunk of it is made up or is inaccurate or whatever. Can't get it removed from the House of Commons library. And that report is quoted, it's even quoted with regard to setting up this legislation. It's quoted as if it's fact. So once the government's accepted something, even if you go back and you say that's absolute codswallop, it's garbage, they will still continue to use it as evidence when it's actually not evidence, it's just a pack of lies.
And then they also use emotive language such as invisible
Yep.
children, ghost children, that kind of thing. I'm trying to also just have a look and see if I can find this. It's I can't remember the name of it. Is the problem, this report,
Is
but I had a
is
good
it
look
is
at
it
it.
is it the panel review that I've put in the chat?
Mm,
Oh,
Possibly. I know it was quite a. Um,
I've had a look at that. I thought it had a yellow front. It had a
yes,
yellow
I actually,
cover,
that's what
I
I
swear.
I have a memory of a colorful front, but this might be quoting it. It might be referring to it. Um, so, it's just trying to find these documents. It is really worth going and doing the homework, particularly if you want to write to your MP and so on. You want to quote this, you can go and give some of that information, but it's good to question the figures. I can give an example. This is some years ago when the headlines, the headlines always seem to center around whatever issues the government's trying to change, don't they? Whatever they're trying to
Absolutely.
legislate. And in this case, this was back when sort of radicalization was the buzzword, people being radicalized. And there was an article about some young people who had gone to Afghanistan or something, or somebody they'd gone to join Al Qaeda or something like that. And it said, I can't remember what the figures were, but they turned the figures around to say this percentage were home educated, which was a tiny percentage compared to the rest of the group, which were all obviously kids who'd gone through school. But they didn't focus on the kids who went through school. They only focused on this percentage, the percentage that had been home educated, that had been radicalized. And um, it was very telling because it just sort of showed how you can manipulate the figures to say whatever you want. You can caress them and stroke them, and we see that a lot where they reverse them, so that makes it sound like there's a lot, but actually when you scrutinize you find that if you turn them around, uh, and they're very clever with that, with the graphs and that kind of thing. And we are seeing this more than ever. And some people say, oh well, I'm not really interested in politics, I'm not bothered with politics. And there's a saying that saying, you might not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. And everything we do as citizens and the things we're involved in, the politics wants to know because it's functioning how the country runs. So all of these things
Um,
that we're seeing that they're wanting to bring in is because they want, there's this like move to kind of control what people are doing.
so just looking at this report that Michelle has pulled
Yeah.
up, which does have some of the same data in it, most definitely. They looked at all these rapid reviews from a period 21 to 22 and 22 to 23. And there were 8 home educated rapid reviews in 21 to 22 and 14 for the following year. Of those children, now this is where it tallies with the information with the analysis that Joe and I have done of previous cases. Of those cases, so it goes on about the fact that 24 of the children had no agency involvement at all. One was on a child protection plan, 2 were children in need, and 1 was known to the youth offending service. So they're harping on about the 24 no agency involvement. However, you look at the other evidence, previous agency involvement, 23 of them were previously known to children's social care. So that's all but a very small handful were previously known to children's social care. So the families were known to probably be troubled, okay, and had probably been dropped from the system. So these are not children who are unknown to services at all. Necessarily. There's only 4 that were not known to any services at all. And of those 4, by the way, I believe one of them was suicide, another one was a undiagnosed eating disorder, things that are nothing to do with parental neglect or anything to do with home education at all. Um, you know, so it's really dodgy data. They'll take
Yeah,
the raw
because
numbers
Yeah,
And
here they
just throw 'em
mentioned
in,
between
yeah.
August 2020 and October 2021, 27 rapid reviews referred to the panel featured children who were educated at home. Now, look, what are those dates? August 2020 to October 2021. We still had lockdowns in that period as well. Things were very up and down and confusing. And they say this represented 5.8% of the total number of rapid reviews. So 5.8 is the percentage that were home educated. So the other 94 point whatever percent were children that were not home educated, in other words. Am I right? Would that be a correct assessment?
Yeah. Can I just also point out that their numbers are 8 plus 14. I get that to be 22. Yeah? 8
Yep.
plus 14 is 22, right? And then you go further down and it talks about 24 children.
Yeah.
Are the rapid reviews just on one child? Are they on more than one child? That doesn't add up, does it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's so
Yeah.
dodgy, so dodgy.
I will share this document, the link to this document in some of the chats here, because if people want to go and look, just as an example, you go and have a look at the figures that they quote, and you see if you can break them down and make sense of them. So they even sort of say, it is a bit of a muddle, really, the whole thing, um, because it's like they're not quite sure what they're wanting to actually say anyway. So details of the children involved. I'm on page 14, Alison. I don't know what page you're on.
Okay.
And then 15, where it says details of the children involved. The 27, so there
Okay.
were 27 incidents involving 41 school-age children. So 6 children died, 35 been seriously harmed. And then it breaks that down into demographics. And then they identify the nature of the harm. But as Alison said, they try and analyze that. So 3 children completed suicide. 1 child undiagnosed eating disorder. 1 child from undiagnosed leukemia. I mean, one could answer that maybe they weren't seeing doctors and the doctors would have diagnosed leukemia, but we know that can also not be true because it gets missed by medical professionals as well. There's 1 violent death, but it doesn't say whether that was a parent or maybe another young person or outside a pub. It doesn't say. And then there were other kinds of harms, but we don't know. There's not really conclusive, proper information to kind of understand the circumstances in which these children presented, the nuances of it. But also I think these numbers it was over a few years, and this is only home educated children. It's not looking at the vast majority of children who are not home educated who also came to harm, and it's not highlighting those percentages at all.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that if we were to map that out into the general child population, it wouldn't be very much different.
Yeah.
The proportions would be roughly similar.
Yeah. It says only
and because they've not done that, you can't say that those children were at more risk. Yeah.
Yeah. It
Sorry.
talks about 4 children not known to services. So all of them had been known, social care, or in children in need or subject child protection plan was 23 of them. 2 were previously known to early help. 4 were known to sort of universal services such as GP and so on. 4 were not known, which is actually quite a small number. And it's not to say, like, I do not want to diminish harm that has happened to children by no means, but I'm just feel that it's not a level playing field, really, because they're not doing this with the school population. So yeah,
But again, it doesn't add up. They were saying there's 41. Sorry, I've got a bit of a delay, so sometimes I don't know that you're talking. I do apologise. they're saying this is about 41 children, and it says previous agency involvement, including children not known to any services. 23 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4 doesn't add up to 41.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
the math is not mathing.
It's not. It
Yeah.
really
Maybe
isn't.
that's why they're obsessed with these invisible children, because they're when they've gone to count them, there's not as many as they've written in the document.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we know is that they need, or the argument for invisible children is like they assume the children are out there, they just haven't seen them yet.